The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so thrilled to have back on the show platinum-selling rapper, singer, songwriter, and producer Yelawolf back on. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Eric.
It's been a day or two.
Yeah, man.
But you know, now, I was telling your team I had to have you on the show when War Story came out. I got to hear some of the first tracks before everything dropped in this incredible vinyl. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
You know,
it's a long time coming, this one. Yeah.
Double LP. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could have, the average person would have gone, yeah, I'm going to release one, then another. No, you do it to where War Story is two totally distinctive different albums and so many great songs on here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we, well, it was intentionally, initially it was for separate records.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring back the two producers from Love Story, which is Willpower and Malay. And so I cut the first record in Los Angeles with Malay. I was standing at the Sunset Marquee, the entire, production of the record, cutting it at his house. And then came back to Nashville. When I played the record for Willpower, he was like, dude, I gotta go hard. And at that time we were thinking of blending in the record, but when we went to Atlanta and cut the Trunk Muzik Forever side, so it's the Michael Wayne side and then the Trunk Muzik Forever side. But when we cut, they were so different stylistically, but we didn't have really the time, first of all, to put out two separate records over, so like, man, let's just make a double album. And but they complement each other really well.
Totally. That's what I noticed too. And I got to bring up as well, Yelawolf, to where the guest artist that you brought on here also, and obviously, checked out the music video, with Trailer in the Sky and everything with you and Jelly Roll. It's like, it seems like you had, to me, this album, and certainly I've enjoyed all your past work too, but it seems more autobiographical with this one. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I wrote, near every time that I do a record, I title it first, so that I know, it's kind of like put the title in the book, and then I can fill the pages in, and I also usually come up with covers before we shoot the music or produce the music, right? Or, create the cover, the art. The art helps me to compartmentalize what the album should be. Mm-hmm. So, when I went to Los Angeles, I knew I was doing the Michael Wayne record, which is personal, so that's very, there's a story to be told there. Mm-hmm. And Trunk Muzik is, traditionally, you do have to, it's got to be somewhat of a party. Yeah. So. And
I like the throwback with that.
Yeah.
That definitely, to me, harkens back to the earlier days, like the Run DMC and everything else with that, second record in there. But the first one is very personal.
Yeah, for sure.
And War Story, I've got to ask you too, and I'm sure a lot of your fans want to know, why that name with War Story?
Well, it was an answer to Love Story. And I've got tattooed on my foot years ago, even years before I wrote the Love Story album, I have on one foot the love of war, and then on the other foot, the war of love. So it's kind of been a theme within my career, love and war personally, know. So it just felt right to have Love Story and then now War Story with the same two producers for both albums. For the Love Story album and the War Story album. It's the same crew.
Wow.
Same group of people. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's like I mentioned this too when you came in studio. It's like, I love the cover of this. And you said this was not easy to do.
No, this was straight in the middle of the tour. My manager, Zilla, and Tyree, our photographer, they kept telling me, we got a plan to shoot this cover, we got a plan. I was like, whatever, just let me know, I'll show up. Mm-hmm. And they knock on my door at like 4 a.m. We're in the mountains. The sun's not even up yet. You see the sun is just rising.
Right.
It's freezing cold. It's somewhere somewhere in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And the bus is just pulled over. I thought we were getting gas. They knock on my door. Get up. I get up all hungover and tired. And I knew that I dye my hair silver was the idea for the cover. I did that just for the cover, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I wanted to look like I had been through war. And so when I opened the door, he's like, let's shoot this cover. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He had face paint. He brought me this trench coat.
Yeah.
So I just threw on this this YSL scarf and some shades, and we went off into the woods and started shooting. And then I was just so tired. We had just did a show the night before. I didn't go to bed till 2 or 3
Oh my gosh.
in the morning. So I was like on an hour of sleep at the most. So, but it worked. It worked for a great cover.
It looks like a movie cover, which is kind of, enticing, particularly, when you open it up too with the double LP, and this is so cool. But then here you are on the inside, you know what I mean? But it's like a movie.
This is a cry for help here. Look at how I'm looking up at the sky like, please, can we be done with this?
And then obviously with war
Yeah.
on the back. But I mean, it's like, it really feels like a mini movie. And then I got to bring this up. I got to brag on you. Besides being a multi-platinum selling artist, the music videos are just explode. I mean, they're in the millions of views and listens.
Yeah.
How does that feel on it?
It feels amazing. I mean, Patrick Tohill's been destroying these music videos, So we've just got a really solid crew around Nashville here, and it's a well-oiled machine, when we set out to do a visual, we come prepared, and it's laid out just so. And we've worked for so many years and done so many videos with together,
Right.
that it's getting more fun. It's more fun when it's less work, really.
It seems like it, though. To me, the videos, watching the videos, particularly tied to this album, to where it seems like you guys are having fun. But also, I think what they do, what your team and you are doing a great job of, they help fulfill the songs.
Yeah, for sure. You wanna paint the picture for the music videos can ruin a song.
Oh,
you know, and I live in a glass house, so I've made the mistakes. I've had records that the visual didn't deliver. I never thought the visual delivered for like Daddy's Lambo the way I thought that it should. That's there's certain videos I've done, not many, but a few. I'm like, oh, we kind of missed the mark for the visual on that. But you learn as an artist, that's an extremely important part. And also not knowing that this song needs a video and missing it.
Yeah.
Like I have a record called Tennessee Love.
Oh yeah.
That's off of Love Story that ended up being a smash. We never shot a video to.
Wow.
And a fan made a video, and it's got millions and millions of hits. So you just you got to pay attention and listen to the fans. For sure.
Right.
So right now I think we got like 4 videos in the bag right now, but we're gonna shoot the next 2 videos. Is Bad News with Caskey.
Nice.
And Barn Fire.
Wow.
Those are the next 2 videos we're shooting. Yeah.
And one of those things too that I always admire about your body of work, Yelawolf, is not only are you a great rapper and you create a great visual, but also you can sing. You have vocal powers, and I mean,
Thank you, bro.
That's combining those elements together within your album and within your songs. Not easy. And also you're a producer, so now you're producing other artists at your studio here in Nashville in your spare time.
I don't think that I don't have spare time. That's I force myself to golf. That's my new passion.
That's what I heard. I heard from some friends that you're now golfing.
That's my spare time.
You've been seen as like some charity
my
golf
other spare
events.
time is my other spare time is cooking.
Yeah. So I heard about that too. Now with the cooking stuff, like, is that like on the road or at home? I mean, are you pairing that with like some of your songs? How's that working out with the cooking deal?
That's funny you asked, because pairing food with music is a thing I'm about to do with a podcast that I'm setting up to do. It'll be like a cooking show, so to speak. Just preparing food. Concept being like, artist comes through, and let's say it's Killer Mike, and we do a little research on Killer Mike, and maybe a meal his mom made, you know, and kind of just surprise them with, well, it's not a surprise anymore, is it? But like just build a menu based off of, you know, whatever guest we have, whether it's a musician, whoever, photographer, athlete, whatever, and just, you know, cook it up and hang out. But yeah, we're setting out to shoot that podcast real soon. That's
incredible. Once again, in your spare time when you're not in the studio, you know, in East Iris producing other artists and working on your own songs and a double LP and a giant tour.
Yeah, it's a lot, but you know, it's
clothing line.
Yeah, the whiskey company. And you got to be careful what you ask for, man. It piles up.
But you know, for a guy from Alabama, you know, who's basically a Nashville guy, you know,
for a guy from Alabama, you know, you're doing pretty good.
You've done. I mean,
well, I mean, there is some truth to that.
No, I'm just saying, you know, it's a huge compliment. I mean, you know, from anywhere, you're basically a Nashville guy now, even though you have the Alabama roots.
Yeah, I was born in Gadsden, Alabama.
Right.
You know, and I moved around Alabama up until I was 7 years old, and I mean all at Fort Payne, Center, Gadsden, Southside, Rainbow City. We went to Baton Rouge for a little bit, but when I was 7, we moved to 6 or 7, moved to Franklin, and by the time I was like between 7 and 8, we had moved to Antioch.
Right.
And so I lived in Antioch. So I spent my formidable years in Antioch. You know, that's where the music started to take hold, and namely hip hop, because I was, you know, skateboarding and in the streets, and so I had, you know, I was plugged in, so to speak. You know. And
you're plugged in now. And you know, and I was mentioning this to you when you first came in studio too, to where it's got to feel great for you. And whether you go back home to Alabama or essentially home here in Nashville, to where now people are recognizing your music and what you've accomplished, and that's not easy for any artist.
It's a grind, man. You know, we were mentioning in the studio yesterday. I was having some convos with my brother J. Dot and Will Power, and J. Dot managed me for the bulk of my career. This is before my new manager came in, Edward Crow. They're both amazing. Edward's slaying it as my manager. He's killing it. But J. Dot had swung in and just to chat, and we were talking about that, like how it was difficult during our time. You know, I come from an era of selling CDs out the trunk of my car at gas stations and hitting open mics, and word of mouth was it. You know, Twitter. Just for a frame of reference of time, Pop the Trunk was my first big record.
Totally.
But that's when Twitter just got going. So that, you know, like social media was introduced into my hustle later.
Right.
You know, obviously we used it, and I love social media for that. You know, it's been great. But to get to that point of Pop the Trunk, we were literally in the streets, you know, and it was a grind, and so that they gave me a different hustle, and you know, I'm from a working class family, man. I have it in me anyway. You know, when I was a little boy, you know, you couldn't sleep in, get up, get dressed. Why? Because, you know, be ready for what? Just be ready.
But you know,
you may need to be ready. You know, that's kind of the idea. So,
but that work ethic also, Yelawolf, you poured into this album. And you pour into all your projects, and once again, you know, with the other interviews, your tours, and
I'm just a maniac.
And everybody wants to bring you on board as a guest with them now. Yeah. It's like, I think it goes back to your work ethic.
Well, I think, you know, I'm just a psycho. I mean, I have a addiction, you know what I mean, and I have to feed that addiction, and there's actually nothing wrong with those two traits if you can push it into something that's positive.
Right.
You know, I would imagine that, you know, Tiger Woods is probably an addict, you know, like LeBron has, you know, an addiction, but, you know, all these people that obsess over something, you know, that they're feeding that addiction, and if you can push that into art or whatever it is for you, work, whatever it is. So I feed that. I feed that with music, so it's you know, it's a never-ending flow of ideas, and it just piles up when they start to manifest into albums and clothes and
something that's great.
You know, you don't really know where music comes from. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a mystery of how this actually
Still magic.
happens, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I tell people, like, when you go into a studio to create a record, you know, at least for me, I'm doing my own projects. I don't write with other people. I write, you know what I mean? My lyrics. That's all just coming out of myself. And so it's like when you're in a room, when ideas come, like you have to grab them. Like, what did Michael Jackson say? If I have an idea, I have to record it, or else God will give it to Prince.
That is amazing. I've never heard that one.
Yeah,
but but if you don't grab that idea.
When I heard that, I was like, that is a fact. I worry about that. I'm like, if I don't record this, Marshall's gonna record this.
I know exactly.
If I don't get this out, you know, Killer Mike's gonna get it. You know, like,
deep.
somebody's gonna get it. Somebody's gonna get this idea that's floating through the ether. If I don't grab it and put it down.
That is inspirational.
I mean, you know, but yeah, that's how you think, you know, when you're in the creative space.
But I'll tell you what, you know, it's paying off. And I mean, and obviously, you know, you're feeding your creativity, and your fans and new fans are eating it up, and you're selling out shows all across the country.
Yeah, there's definitely been a change in this past couple years, and you know, I got to give Jelly Roll his flowers, and for blowing this scene up and carrying us along with him, you know, taking me on tour and those massive shows, and put me on his album, and you know, so for the 6 years that I was with Eminem, and that build, and then coming in out of that situation, building my own thing, you know, independent with Slumerican.
Right.
You know, I've got friends, fortunately, that have been in that stream. Jelly being one of those people, and Struggle Jennings and Shooter Jennings, and so to see it all, you know, flourish, and we still network with one another, and that's the beauty of it. DJ Paul, 3-6 Mafia, you know, which is these are important figures in my life. Totally. You know, and we've just been building for a long time, so. It is paying off, but you know, loyalty is everything. You know, and, so I just giving thanks. To the crew.
Totally.
You know, and Willpower, Malay. You know,
they give thanks back. And I want to make
sure. It's an army, man. It's an army of people that make it happen.
And it takes an army with a war story. I like that.
That was good.
I know. Thanks. Well, I got to make sure for our viewers, you know, for your website, for social media, for cooking tips, for the, you know, podcast.
Cooking tips.
You're going to be doing that. You're going to be having your friends on, doing cooking, pairing it with a great song. Where do they need to go for everything Yelawolf?
Yelawolf.com. You can go to yelawolf.com, or Instagram is at Yelawolf, YELAWOLF. You can go to also Slumerican.com and, you know, check out our clothing brand, you know, the whiskey company, the artists that we're developing and working with.
That's incredible. What a great way to give back.
Yeah, I mean, I do get a lot of joy out of that. You know, like, I just did a country music album with an artist named Tony Martinez. Yeah. And that came out a few weeks ago now, and man, it's liberating to help artists get out. You know what I mean? To get their art out. It does feel great. If you haven't checked that album out, Tony Martinez, the album's called Everywhere West.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, also be sure and get your own copy. I suggest the double vinyl, which looks amazing, great artwork and everything. It's available on vinyl, CD. You can add him to your playlist on Spotify or whatever source. I personally recommend you go see Yelawolf perform live with the whole show. See all the music, the past hits, the new hits. Check out the music videos too. I'll tell you what, it's great to have you back on the show.
Eric, thanks for having me, bro.
Congratulations. War Story's out now. Check it out.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.